Hey, so my last video got cut off at an opportune moment. Somebody called me, I realized my phone wasn't on airplane mode. And so it actually cut off at like the perfect place. And so in that video, I was talking basically about how your beliefs, how you end up in a situation where your beliefs play out in reality. And I wanted to talk about how that plays out on the flip side for me personally. I wanted to describe that with a personal, where I'm at personally. I'm just going to share this. I don't know, this is really personal, but I've talked about it a little bit on this channel before, and I wanted to kind of try to tie it together with how intricately you will select a person to be in a relationship with that reflects whatever your big beliefs are. So, okay, I believe someone's should be willing, whatever. I believe I'm worthy of commitment, right? Cheating is not a part of my mentality whatsoever. I believe I'm worthy of a great relationship in just about every way. And so I have had wonderful relationships with people that are loyal, with whom I have this super connected, intimate, like very intimate. All my relationships have been super intimate emotionally, and that's all great. Another thing that is a turnoff for me is when a relationship is not like that. I've mentioned a specific person on this channel that I manifested a text from, etc. There was early on, there was an element of intimacy, emotional intimacy missing from our relationship. And I left that after just a couple months, even though he was amazing. And I'm still hoping that whatever was preventing that intimacy from happening changes and that we hook up again. I don't know. That was another thing, but like, I don't have any long relationships where that element is missing. That super intimate, trusting thing that prevents things, that just mutually is exclusive from cheating and lying and all that other stuff. I got out of that relationship. I exited it. That's the action, that's the form the outer world takes when, your beliefs don't jibe with your outer reality. You change it, you leave. But so, here's an example on the flip side for me. And I am still deeply struggling with this. It's gotten much better, but it's kind of been on examining this more and trying to fix it more through whatever means. I will examine where this came from and try to determine rationally that it isn't true. If I can't do that, I'll probably try to affirm the hell out of it. And I'm still dealing with the outer world aspect of it too. I have been operating under a really strong belief that if somebody doesn't want it, if I am in a relationship with somebody who isn't super physical with me or isn't into sex or who is neglectful sexually or selfish, really, when it comes down to it, my reaction to that has been, well, can I really blame him? Like, man, look how great he thinks I am. Like, he's willing to overlook the fact that I am so unattractive or that I am so unappealing sexually or physically. Look at this intimate relationship we have. Like, it's that strong that he's willing to get past it. Like, can I really blame him for not wanting me? Like, like, look at me. Like, can he really, to this day, like, to this day, I can't help but run through my own deficiency as an explanation for somebody else's outward behavior in this area. And it's really a problem because just like somebody cheating on you, somebody being neglectful of you sexually or avoidant of you sexually is a reflection of them, not you. The only difference is that whenever that became apparent, I stayed. That's the thing. Like, If I thought that I had the most gorgeous body, and I thought I was a gorgeous woman, and I thought I'm so sexy, and how could any man like look at this and not want it? If I thought that the way I do about me as a girlfriend, when somebody turns down the opportunity to have a romantic, like intimate relationship with me, it honestly blows I'm like, there's got to be something wrong with him. But if somebody, doesn't seem interested in me physically, I'm like, well, I mean, can I really blame him? And so that has been reflected to me in the relationships I've been in, because when that has become apparent, when a person not being the way I would want my ideal partner to be physically or sexually or whatever, when that becomes apparent, I don't take a powder. I stay. And by the way, I know that this is not based in reality, in the reality of me, because often these things are very apparent early on and I just let it go. Like, it's not like this happens after we've gotten naked together. Often these things are communicated loud and clear, verbally or some other way, or they tell me about how, some past experience that clearly indicates that we're not a match. And because I don't think I'm worthy of that, because in my mind I really don't think I'm worthy of that, that's not a reason for me to leave. I'm like, well, I've got the good stuff. I've got the stuff that I know I'm worthy of. Maybe this will change. Like, maybe, and so it takes the form of a relationship continuing, solidifying, becoming serious, becoming long-term. I mean, this is how the outer reality reflects your beliefs, through your choices. There's always a divine intelligence element at play, and I don't know how that works, but I don't know if divine intelligence is putting the exact right person in front of you for you to experience this with, but I can tell you that you experience what you experience because you choose to be there experiencing it. You choose the circumstances that lead to it. You can almost always trace something happening that you don't want back to a point in time where if you had had a different belief, you would have gone a different route. I know this to be true from examining the things in the last video and in this one. I would never ever stay in a relationship with somebody I thought there was even the remotest possibility was a cheater. It just wouldn't happen. I don't deserve that. I don't think that a man who is with me needs to go somewhere else to be satisfied. That's a belief I have. And that also plays into, I think, the partners that I've chosen, because if I believe that, in order for a man not to cheat, he has to be sexually satisfied at home by me, then the only way for the whole thing to work out is for me to choose a person that is going to be cool with our crappy, dead bedroom, right? I mean, that's the only way that I can get this loyalty while also having this other thing express itself outwardly. It's just in the initial choice of person. And so when you have a different belief, your choices will be different. That's the point I'm trying to make, okay? So that's my illustration of how your beliefs actually logically affect your decision making with a partner. Now, to take that kind of general with Neville and conscious creation, all that stuff, if you can see this example of how a belief that you hold ends up creating a reality that you are experiencing, can you see how any belief that you hold will end up creating your outer reality? you know, for people and their relationship choices, a lot of this is largely unconscious. It's kind of on autopilot. You make so many decisions every day that, you know, there's no way to really know exactly why you make all of the small choices that you make. And so, you know, through the example of, okay, I don't think I'm good enough, so therefore I end up in a relationship where that is reflected to me. Any belief you have that you strongly hold is going to come through in the way you are in the world. It's going to affect your choices. It's going to affect the way you present yourself. And there's the divine intelligence aspect that we don't understand, but it flows right along with all of this. You know, the situation that you want or need will be just put there for you in ways that we can't seem to explain. But basically anything you believe will end up being created in your reality. If it's that way for one thing, it's that way for everything. This is sort of a across the board kind of thing. It's not a pick and choose. My belief that I'm amazing and I deserve a committed relationship plays out, but my belief that even though I have no money, I'm going to be successful doesn't. You know, when I had minus $100 in the bank and started moving out of that, I wasn't believing that I belonged in that state. I was believing that I am a successful person. I belong with a huge bank account. And that is now where I am. And you know, there were incidents along the way that helped me along that nobody can explain. But, you know, the really big part of it is that how I presented myself, which creates relationships with people, it creates opportunities, it creates inspired thinking, all of that. That's what ended up creating this outer reality through me. So that to me is the illustration of how your beliefs end up actually creating what you experience in the outer world, in your outer reality. And so I wanted to get that out there sort of as a part 2 to the video that I made about how I've started to change my beliefs and why it's so important. You know, that if you're spending a lot of mental time on in this area, man, like you can just do some work on your beliefs and it will just, the source that is you, that everything is emanating from, will just start creating better stuff. Like it's like, you know, it's like buying a new car instead of constantly trying to put like, you know, muffler tape on your noisy, you know, it's just, the biggest return on your money is always, you know, and your investment is always in you and changing the underlying thing from which everything is being created. So, you know, there are a million ways to do this. If your way isn't mine, which is basically saying, okay, I think I can kind of figure out, you know, it's not that hard for me to figure out what belief is causing the outward reality. Like, okay, I don't, you know, whatever. Everything I just described about like my appeal or whatever, my view on my appeal. Okay, I can easily start to just sort of go through that and say, where did this all come from? You know, this relationship that I had turned sexless and I blamed myself. Plus this person that I was in the relationship with told me that it was because of my appearance. This actually happened to me. Okay, there's one thing. Now, did I really think that was true at the time? No. But, you know, that impacted me. Like I had an outward person telling me that, somebody who I trusted. So, okay, there's one thing that fed into it. The other thing is, you know, stuff that was from childhood about, you know, the expectations of what I should be as a woman from my mom and my dad and, you know, how I failed or succeeded there. You know, it's for me listing out all these things and just sort of knocking them down one by one, and then getting to the real meat of what's still causing this and coming up with a plan to attack it. You know, you can reprogram your subconscious mind through repetition, through affirmations. You can look at an outward thing that is a result of it and say, I'm going to change that in the physical world. I did that. I lost a bunch of weight. That definitely helped. You know, whatever your way is, there are a million ways to do this, but you have to start doing it. You have to do it. You have to actually, you know, get off your lazy mental ass and do it. You know, this mental stuff is the hard part of all of it. But the nice thing is, you act on autopilot to create the better outer circumstances that you want. You know, you don't have to directly say over and over again, I'm in a relationship with somebody that is sexually satisfying. I don't do that at all. Like, I don't see any point in that, because I know that when I resolve the underlying problem with myself, that I will automatically no longer choose a partner with whom that is a problem. Yeah, so, and anything else that you want, you can program into. Any other outer reality. If you believe it, if you really program it in and believe it, it will create on your behalf. Hope that helps.